All right, guys, welcome in the NBA tip-off show here, powered by WagerTalk.com, as we've got the second night of the NBA Cup going on. 12 games, in fact, scheduled. We're going to break down a few of them for you here, talk to the contrarian gods, talk about a total, break down a couple of featured matchups, and, of course, some best bets, and we're going to do it along with Mr. Same Game Parlay himself. Andy Lang is in the house. He'll have one of those same game parlays for you. And Double R, 1L, he'll have a couple of consonants in his name for you. So we are ready to roll here, gentlemen. I don't know how impressed you are so far on the Tuesday night version of the NBA Cup here, those games. I do like the floors, Merrill. I wish I did not have two brownies before watching it, though, because it was a rough night sleeping. However, what did you think so far? Are you buying that these guys actually care enough about these games to put in extra effort? Because I don't.
No, I definitely don't. I was doing an ESPN radio sports show yesterday. We talk. It's Tennessee Valley, so we talk a lot of SEC football, right? We don't talk a lot of NBA, but we actually did talk NBA because the host and I were just ripping the NBA yesterday on this whole thing. I didn't like it last year. I didn't understand it. I still pay very little attention to it. Now, they are all regular season games except for the final. They all count the standings. So I kind of handicap them as a normal game. But it's way too soccerish, if that is a word for me. And that's exactly why they're doing this. Silver likes the Premier League. He likes the in-season tournaments. Maybe he should relegate and delegate teams from the G League if he's going to really take on the soccer approach. But yeah, I don't know. I don't handicap these games any differently. It's kind of silly to me. And the host Tom Abraham, who I did the show with, though, had a great point. And we've over the years come up with great ideas for NASCAR, everything else. He said they should just make them all based on the division. You play all the divisional teams, right? And then one winner from each division goes to like the little tournament afterwards or something. I thought that made some sense. It would actually make the games more meaningful. But yeah, I don't handicap these two differently. And I just love that the NBA has enough money to pay the winning team apparently $500,000 per player. That's like $7.5 million. And they also have enough money to change these courts randomly like this. It's nice to be in the NBA, I should say.
I'm detecting a bit of sarcasm there, Andy Lang. Did you feel that as well? Was that coming through there? It just felt like a little bit of bitterness there, Andy. What did you think?
Very bitter.
Jeez, Steve, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
All grumpy.
Yeah, Swift, get off my lawn.
I'll play devil's advocate. I like it. I like when they did the crush color jerseys in the NFL. I love the courts. I love anything that shakes it up. Obviously, yeah, the big hole is nobody knows who's in any of these divisions. Like, I can't even I seriously cannot explain how it works. And that's the big hole in it. Do some of the teams care? No, I would say that the Celtics and Timberwolves made it very clear that they didn't care. But I think maybe some of these younger teams care. And I will give you my Indiana Pacers from last year. That was a big moment for a young team like us. It was exciting for us as fans in the city, and I thought the team kind of rallied around it. So when you're looking at some of these younger teams that are not going to be able to make a splash in the playoffs, that are not going to, have a big stage moment, yeah, maybe some of those teams do have some extra motivation. But yeah, teams like the Celtics and the Timberwolves and, these, veteran teams that it's championship or bust. Yeah, it's pretty obvious they don't care. I will say I noticed that some of these games were getting up and over team totals towards the end of some of these games because it's based on the point spread. So there were some teams that were actually kind of hustling to get some extra points at the end. We had a couple clunkers, but I thought the games were pretty high scoring for the most part. So take that, if you like tonight, if you think you have a couple teams that are motivated and interested, yeah, I would look at overs.
You're looking at, no, not a bad way to look at it. I did notice that too as well in the first on Tuesday. And again, it's Tuesdays and Fridays, guys, over the next month. We'll determine the whole seeding and the brackets and everything else here in the group play. But it does feel like games that were going to go over went really over, and the games that went under went really under, like everyone threw the damn towel in, like that kind of under. So it'll be interesting to see how night two goes, but the contrarian gods are in full effect as they have got a game that they have circled, and I love the fact that this is where they're going. Steve Merrill, looks like the contrarian gods are thinking, sorry, Lakers, we're not buying it. San Antonio as a home dog getting 3 might not be a bad look. What are you thinking?
Well, the Lakers, of course, won the whole in-season tournament. So how do we dare bet against them last year? But Andy brings up a good point. Look at the other teams in it last year. The Pacers made the finals. I believe it was the Pelicans and Kings. I think the Kings were one of them. If I'm not mistaken, it was maybe the Pelicans or the other team. So it wasn't exactly like your Nuggets, Celtics, T-Wolves, like you were saying, Joe. So we'll see if the Lakers show up tonight or not. I actually liked them. I used them as a free play the other night. It was the last game I cut from my card. I posted for free for everybody at WagerTalk.com when they were at home against the Grizz, and they won by 5 as a 7-point favorite. So I was kind of happy I didn't make it a best bet, but it missed out on a free play, which I do like to hit those free plays for people. But they do come in off of 3 straight wins. This is a team who's had one of the most extreme home road dichotomies in the league this year under new coach J.J. Redick. We'll see if that continues. But overall, for this season, it's been play Lakers at home and fade them on the road. In all road games this year, they're 1-4 versus 6-0 at home. So if you do the quick math, that means the home team is now 10-1 straight up in all Laker games this year. So I definitely would not disagree with the Spurs as maybe a live home dog.
It certainly feels like it. I mean, Andy, they've been playing really good basketball here, and I don't trust the Lakers as far as we can throw them. We already know this. But what are you thinking here? Is there anybody in particular you might focus in on this game as well with the contrarian gods?
Yeah, I was looking at trying to fade Wemby of all people coming off, I mean, the 50-point game, and, he 34 before that and 24 before that. So I was diving deep into his numbers, and I'm looking under his assists. It's only 3.5 assists. And this is a guy that's only gone over this assist number in 3 games. This is a Chris Paul led team. He's absorbing, all of the assists. Wemby's job is to score. So if Wemby's looking to score and go up against, Anthony Davis, then yeah, I think Wemby's going to welcome the challenge. It looks like Davis is probable. He's going to play. Hachimura might be out. You don't want to fade a guy who's like playing this good, but he's not going to score 34, 50 points every game. I don't know. Maybe he's that good. But the numbers are telling us that the assists are very under the radar type of play here. So the games that he's gone under, I mean, there's a lot of 1s and 2s where he's not even getting close to this. It's a fairly good price at -122. So when I'm looking at a 75% hit rate on playing is under the assist for the season, count me in.
Yeah, interesting. Big Daddy talking about this is a little fishy line at -3.5. G. Hurt likes the Spurs full game. And yes, so are the contrarian gods on the same page here. I believe LeBron has recorded a triple-double in each of his last 3 games. He's averaging 25, 11, and 14. Even though that Anthony Davis is, I believe, the number 2 scorer in the league right now at 30 points. Double, triple. Andy, does he keep that rolling here? I'm sure the books are probably already just hammering that, making it juice to high heaven. But 3 in a row for an old guy is pretty impressive.
Like every time you're like, well, LeBron can't do it forever. Then he's like, oh, yes, I can. Here's 3 straight triple doubles. Listen, there are a lot of guys that I like fading in this league. Fade LeBron at your own peril. I
agree.
I mean, listen to his points, rebounds, and first off, his points, rebounds, and assist totals 40.5. That's like one of the highest in the league. And this guy, but he's smoked it the last 4 games: 61, 45, 46, and 52. So I just cannot find a spot to fade LeBron as the season goes on. If he looks fatigued, but this is a team that is so much dependent on their top couple players. They don't run that many players deep. It's like the exact opposite of the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are throwing all 12 guys out there, and the Lakers are lucky to get 7 guys who can produce. So no, I can't fade LeBron till further notice. He's either a bet on or a pass.
Yeah, I mean, 3 in a row is actually pretty impressive here. All right, let's talk about another game on the board here, a featured matchup. And Merrill, How about them Clippers taking on the Rockets here, round 2, right? This was a rematch from, I believe what was it, Wednesday. It was close, but it was also another under, I believe, in this game. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the under is now 9-2 in these Clipper games here. They are dead unders. Houston likes to play some defense. We know this. Should we just keep it simple and look at the total, or do you like a side in this one?
Yeah, first of all, by the way, LeBron was the oldest player in history to have back-to-back double-doubles, let alone 3. I would think, what, age 39 now. Just having the back-to-back, he's the oldest player in the history of the NBA to do it.
It's
he's still
crazy.
doing it on top of it. He's breaking his own record the very next night out, which is just incredible. So, yeah, I like what Andy was saying. I said that in my NBA playoff videos when I talk more about props, is that I don't look to fade the superstars, right? I look for kind of a zigzag sometimes in the playoffs with props, but we're not looking to fade the superstars. And LeBron is as superstarish as they have ever come. We'll talk about the other LA team here at the Clippers. Very mediocre 6-6 start overall. You talked about the totals. You look at their pace. I believe they're like 24th in the league right now. Back-to-back losses. That last one did come at Houston. It's a quick, not what we used to call a home-and-home series. They used to play one spot and the other spot, but now they do them in the same spot, which is kind of strange to me. So it's exactly the same setup being in Houston again. Clippers did not shoot well in that last game, just 39.5%. They landed right on the total at 214. In fact, if you look at the shooting, 39.5% and 43%, it still landed right on the total. Would actually give you a little bit of a reason to maybe look at the over here, as the pace was a little quicker than people realized, but they've got it set at 214.5. So I'll do that zigzag here. I think if they shoot anywhere near their norm here, this case probably gets up and over.
I kind of like that look there. Andy, how about you? Who would you concentrate in this one here tonight? The usual suspects. Sengun, I know, is a big popular prop bet with a lot of guys every time he's out on the court. Who are you looking at in this one?
Norm Powell. He's been just a fantastic guy. It's a bet on props wise. You can go points. You can go points plus rebounds. I'm looking at points, rebounds plus assists. It's 26.5. He had a bad game the other night. 5 of 18 from the field, so he only had 21 points, rebounds, and assists. But he was due. He had hit this total 8 games in a row leading up to that game. So one off is no big deal. But I just think you got to go back to Norman Powell. He's it's without Kawhi, he's one of the better starters that they have. And, scoring's got to come from somewhere. I did love the pace. I mean, Steve brought up, the pace. I mean, the Clippers shot the ball 96 times, the Rockets 97. Not great shooting nights for either, but if they improve that shooting a little bit, it sails over the total in this one. I got to believe Powell has a nice little bounce back. I mean, nobody on the Clippers had 20 points, and only one person on the Rockets had over 20 points. So it was just kind of a clunky shooting night. I don't expect 2 games in a row from these guys. They got scores, but I'll look for Norman Powell to have a nice night.
Looking for Norman Powell. Yeah, I mean, prior to that one, I think he was like a 20-point machine on everything. And the books weren't adjusting to his total either. And it was like, just keep playing it. Norm Powell getting all the shots that he wants in this game here tonight. All right, the other game that folks are going to be absolutely looking at here, Merrill, involves, well, who else? The Phoenix Suns taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder in this matchup here. It feels like injury concerns, obviously, with both teams here. Kind of feels like maybe now Oklahoma City, without any rim protectors, maybe overs are the way to look for what was the best defensive team in the NBA for a while there. How do you approach this one tonight?
Yeah, and of course, Bradley Beal out. Kevin Durant still out for the Suns. They've been banged up as well, and it's been a tricky team for me to figure out because I tried to fade them with the Jazz the other night, and that came up about a basket short. And Phoenix shot lights out in that game, by the way. You look at that box score, they shot 50% from the field, incredibly good from 3, and they still only won by 8. Utah actually shot pretty well there. And in fact, if you look at Phoenix's defensive performance in recent games, it has not been good. They gave up 51% at Dallas, 49 to the Suns, 49 to the Jazz, and then they followed that right up with no rest against the Kings on Wednesday and gave up 64% shooting.
Mhm.
So that, it's just kind of how it went for me. I had a down week overall in football and basketball. And it's like I played on the Blazers. And then when I drop, I don't play on the Blazers, blow someone out the next game. I'm just like a day later, game early on some of these teams. But yeah, we'll see if Phoenix regroups defensively. Tough scheduling spot, though. Now, their third road game in 4 nights, shorthanded. I think the over makes some sense for that reason, Joe. And I like where you're going. When you don't have the rim protectors, get a little bit of faster play, more layups, a little bit quicker scoring pace. And don't forget, OKC went under in their last game because they played really good defensively against the Pelicans, but they'd gone over 4 straight before that, and they'd given up 47% shooting or more in 3 of those prior 4 games. So I think the over does make some sense in this one. And it currently has gone from 226 up to about 227. So I think it's still reasonable.
Yeah, and I like that look with them because they'll go faster or go a little smaller. But it's still 7.5 points here. The market is thinking that this isn't going to be all that close, Andy. So who do you look at when it comes to props in this matchup?
Oh man, this is a brutal one just because these lineups. I mean, absolutely no consistency. I mean, this is a Phoenix Suns team starting Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, Royce O'Neal, Ryan Dunn.
Ugh.
Wasn't he from Jackass? Wasn't there a guy on
Yes.
Jackass named Ryan Dunn? I didn't know he was in the league. And then Nurkic is, I mean, it's a game time decision. He's listed as questionable, and be honest, that really kind of throws me off of this game. I will respectfully pass because I think if Nurkic is in, I want all of his props. I want his rebounds. I want his points. I mean, they got Jalen Williams starting at center here. I lean the over. I got to wait on the Nurkic news. But if Nurkic is playing tonight, I expect him to have a big game. And then, OKC. I mean, we talked about, at the beginning of the season how, this team is built so great that they can sustain some injuries. Now, all of a sudden, they don't have Hartenstein and Holmgren, and now Caruso's out. So the defensive anchors of this team are kind of gone.
Yep.
Lean over, but I got to wait on the Nurkic news.
I don't hate team total over either. I mean, listen, 9 of the 10 wins that OKC has, I believe, have been by at least double digits. So, they got a pretty good opportunity. By the way, Grayson Allen also still listed as questionable with a hamstring. So who in the hell is left for the Phoenix Suns here that could be healthy enough to play in this game? That is going to be interesting. All right, we have got a couple of games in the books here. We're going to talk a total coming up, as well as some best bets. But before we do that, want to remind you guys, if you're joining us here live on the stream, go ahead, hit that like button if you could. We'd appreciate it. And of course, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, become part of the WagerTalk TV family, as nobody has more free content than we do here, guys. It's all about cash and tickets, being a little more profitable than we were the day prior. And Andy Lang and his same game parlay can do just that. And Andy, you got a pretty good one coming up here tonight in a same game parlay, and a pretty good game. So tell us, who are you looking at and what are you looking at here?
Well, let's go to the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks. Believe it or not, I have been cashing several tickets for clients. Number 1 in NBA this season, 7-1. We've only had 8 plays. We won 7 of them. And I've cashed several tickets on the Brooklyn Nets and their team total. This is a Brooklyn Nets team that is outperforming what I think we all expected of them. They're clunky. They have some stretches where they'll go 3 or 4 minutes with like 4 turnovers and 0 for 6 shooting, but they can shoot the 3. Ben Simmons, he will look great on a couple possessions, and then he'll dribble the ball like a toddler and dribble it off his foot and somebody else's foot. But they're getting good points production. And this Knicks team, this is not the defensive, hard-nosed Knicks team really that I think we're used to seeing. But what it is it's a very efficient team. Their offensive rating is really good. So when I see the Knicks at number 7, the last 5 games for their offensive rating, I gotta believe in that. And Brooklyn's 20th. So I think we see points. So I'm going to start with the over 216. Kind of a nice little rivalry game in New York. Both teams got to be motivated. Cat is questionable for tonight. Even if he plays, he may not be 100%. So maybe there's not that, inside presence on defense. Mikal Bridges, yeah, why not? Little little revenge spot, right? Going up against his former team. Let's take him to have 20 points. He had a huge game the other night, 43 minutes. He scored 20 points. And then I'm not a big fan of this Nets team or the Knicks team currently. You look at some of their last performances, they lose by 1 to Chicago on that crazy play. They beat Philly, but that was, Philly with Embiid in his first game back. He looked exhausted. They lose to Indiana. They beat Milwaukee, who's really struggling. They lose to Atlanta and Houston. This isn't a Knicks team that I want to lay, double digits with. So this is a pretty nice price here at plus 750. Take the over, take Mikal Bridges, get over his points, and let's take the Nets to cover and not win.
All right, like it there. Big Daddy also chiming in, said loves the Nets 9.5, plus 5.5 in the first half, and Cam Johnson over 2.5 threes. So this is a popular game here tonight for an SGP, guys. Same game parlay, but nobody's been better at it than Andy. So make sure you visit him over at WagerTalk.com. And Merrill, we got, and this is a shocker. We were wondering how long it was going to take, and the answer is not long, because here we are in the second week of the NBA, right? Or third week, first month rather, in the NBA. And now we've got a total in the 240s. And that total, of course, is going to involve the Atlanta Hawks and the Washington Wizards here tonight. So it opened up at 238.5, 241, 241.5. There's no way we're sweating out an under here, right, Merrill?
Yeah, this line really has moved. In fact, it was strange. DraftKings puts up a number the night before, and they actually had 239 back on Wednesday night before the Thursday games are played, as early as that. And then everybody else, most people open, the day before, like late afternoon, 5, 6 o'clock Eastern. We saw a 234 and a 235 last night. And then most other books kind of opened 239, and now it's up to 241.5. So we've seen substantial movement to this over. A couple things I'll point out. First of all, the Wizards this year, perfect 2-0 straight up and against the spread against the Atlanta Hawks. And they are, I believe, 0-8 straight up, 1-7 ATS in all other games this year. So they've really had Atlanta's number. They've gone 0-8 against everybody else in the league except Atlanta, who they're 2-0. Hawks, of course, coming off the big, huge upset of the Celtics as a 16-point dog back on that earlier cup night on Tuesday. So they're obviously taking things seriously, or maybe it's, as you said earlier, Boston just not taking the cup seriously. They've given up, though, 50% shooting or worse in 3 straight games, even in that win. They've allowed each of their last 5 opponents to shoot 48.5% or higher. So, yeah, it's hard not to play the over here. These are 2 of the 4 fastest-paced teams in the league. There are 4 teams that have played a lot faster than everybody so far this season. Wizards and Hawks are 2 of them. The other 2 are the Bulls and Grizzlies. But what's interesting is when the Wizards and Hawks have played twice this year, yes, they both went over. One landed 240, though. And then the other one landed 253 right after that. Those totals were around the 234 range. So this is inflated. And also that Spurs game made it more inflated because we saw 269 points against the Spurs on Wednesday night. Over or pass for me, but I'm not sure there's a lot of line value left at this current number.
Yeah, I don't, Andy, there's got to be, with a total like this, there's got to be some guys to look at, no, and to like from a prop betting perspective.
Yeah, it's a huge number. I'm going to go to Trae Young over his assist. You said it. If there's going to be 240 points, there's just going to be a lot of buckets and a lot of assists. So we look at Trae Young. He's gone over this in 7 out of 11 games. Both the games against Washington, he flew over this 13 and 15. And, it was interesting. The game the other night that they won without him, the team just looked better. Maybe it was definitely different. They had different guys doing different things. The team just took on a whole different, kind of personality here. So I wonder if Trae Young maybe, hopefully, kind of noticed it and maybe tries to dish the ball out a little bit. I mean, against Boston, you question whether Boston really cared about that game, but Daniels goes for 28 points, and Johnson goes for 12 rebounds and 10 assists. I thought he looked good. So maybe Trae Young took a look at that game and said, all right, I don't have to do everything. I don't have to score 35 points. Let's dish them out. So I can't ignore 13 and 15 assists in the previous 2 games against Washington. So we'll go back to that. Trae Young over 11.5 assists.
Trae Young over 11.5 assists here tonight in that one. Highest total on the board. Here we go. 240s back in play. Aubrey Travis says this is disgusting, but I'm taking the 9.5 with the Wizards. I get you, man. It's just one of those. Not only do you have to hold your nose, you got to hold your ass at the same time because it might be coming out both ends watching that game before it's all said and done there, Andy Lang. My goodness. Shout out to James Miller House joining us there on Instagram, as well as Slump Kruger. We do have a couple of best bets coming your way here in a slate of games, all 12 guys, tonight in day 2 of the NBA Cup in the group stages. All right, let's talk some best bets here. And Merrill, we'll start with you here in a game that you have chosen, which I like. I have a feeling Andy is going to like here. But, you know, there's not a whole lot not to like, especially with what these teams, well, this team in particular, in the history in this tournament. So start us off, Merrill. What is the best bet, and what do you got locked and loaded over at WagerTalk for us?
Yeah, I'm going to give you the free play that I posted on my page for everyone today in the NBA game that was just a bit outside for making the cut, because I do have another strong NBA best bet tonight, a game we have not talked about yet here on the show. So go get that best bet tonight on Friday. In fact, I've got 3 different sports going on. Technically 2 sports, but one's college basketball, one's pro basketball, one's NFL, an advanced NFL play for this weekend as well. So it's a nice card right now. 3 best bets, including both college and pro basketball tonight. In fact, this is only the second college basketball best bet I've released all season in the first 2 weeks. So I do like this game a lot, along with the NBA play as well. And don't forget, I'm number 1 all time at WagerTalk in the NBA, including up over 200 units the last 3 seasons alone. So yeah, maybe get an all sports all access for just $1 per play with my 1-year all access special. We also have basketball and football specials. All those promo codes are listed on my page, along with daily free plays. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. You see that shortcut to get you there quicker, WT.buzz/SM. Also, check out the free play videos here. College football top 25 is up right now. NFL Fade the Public will be up tomorrow on Saturday here on the channels. Click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert. Okay, the free play I posted tonight. And by the way, last night I put the Eagles up free for everybody. So really do check out these daily free plays on my page. Go with the Indiana Pacers tonight. Andy Lang's Indiana Pacers minus the 4.5. You know, they did take the tournament serious last year, so I think that's a plus. That's not a huge part of this handicap, but it's not a negative. But a bigger part of this handicap is what a terrible scheduling spot this is for Joe Ranieri's Miami Heat. They have been on the road quite a bit. They're an aging and battered team on a weekly basis, as we know. And just here, you look at this setup right now. This is what, their 5th straight road game. And I believe it's the 6th out of 7 they've been away from home. And then they play Indiana again this Sunday. If it doesn't work out tonight, I think you get a quick bounce back spot with Indiana on Sunday. So I do like Indiana this evening minus the 4.5, and I'll put a little asterisk next to it. If for some reason it doesn't cash, come right back maybe with those Pacers on Sunday. But I think it's a tough spot for the Heat, and we'll look to fade them tonight with the Pacers at home minus the 4.5.
Yeah, very, very tough spot there for the Miami Heat here tonight. Also, maybe even it's going to be interesting. No Jimmy Butler again tonight. A lot of Tyler Hero props I'm seeing rolling around too in the chat rooms. But Indiana, your Indiana Pacers, Andy Lang,
Yes.
in fact, absolutely. All right, talk to us. What do you got for a best bet? And more importantly, what do you got locked, loaded, ready to roll for us this week here, Andy?
Yeah, you said it. It's a really, really busy weekend. Starts off tonight with my NBA best bet, 7-1 on the season, number 1 all categories this season. We do not release too many NBA plays, only 8 of them this year. We've hit 7 of them, so go grab that. And Joe, it's a plus money play. Who doesn't love a nice plus money play when I think the line is completely mispriced? Later on tonight, we do have a play in the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. I think there's really, really good value in there. And then tomorrow we got our college football best bet of the week that is up 20-8 lifetime in those. And then we got UFC 309, got a best bet up there. So tonight starts off a very, very busy night. This is a play that I have on my free page, a little bit more in-depth write-up if you want, but I just want to fade this Philadelphia 76ers team. I think they're a disaster. So I'm going to do it with the Orlando Magic over 105.5 on their team total. Very, very sneaky. The Orlando Magic, albeit not against great teams, but they have won 4 in a row, and they've been putting up points, 115, 121, 114, and 94 in their last 4 games. That 94-point performance, that was in a win, and that was the second leg of a back-to-back. They're home against Philadelphia 76ers, who I don't buy that Joel Embiid is even close to 100% healthy. He's not the big defensive rebounding machine that he is when he's on his prime. Paul George is trying to figure out this roster. There's no Maxey. And this is a team that they're 2-9. They just lost 111-99 to New York. They lost 114-106. And believe it or not, without Banchero, in the last 4 games, this team is the number 13 team in offensive rating. I think this point total is based on kind of season-long stats. And I'm going to ride the hot train of the Orlando Magic offense on a low total, 105.5. Give me the over.
Over, getting it done here. It's kind of hard not to want to fade the Philadelphia 76ers as soon and as often as possible here until further notice. Andy, I am with you here. It should be going to be a bumpy ride for the Sixers, not a team that not even Dan is going to be backing the Sixers, although the Eagles won last night, and Dan had to take apparently the rest of the day off because he's apparently the Eagles have won the Super Bowl now. I had no idea. We're going to have to put Dan in his place here before it's all said and done. One more question I'm getting. We'll see what you guys think here, which seems to be a current theme across the board. And you guys had touched base on it here or looking at a team that you're going to want to fade. Minnesota is coming off of not one, but 2 embarrassing losses to the Portland Trailblazers, which is hilarious. Merrill, they take on Sacramento, and I do think this line is flipped. Is Sacramento now no, Minnesota's the favorite still, barely. But how do you trust Minnesota once again on the road, taking on Sacramento now? Is it just one of those spots here where Portland has got your number, they got your number, it's not a good matchup, but do we trust Minnesota as a road favorite?
Yeah, textbook to what I was talking about earlier, Joe. I took a couple stabs at the Blazers about a week ago and missed those. And then, of course, I lay off when they end up pulling the monster upsets. It just has been kind of the timing thing. But if Minnesota is still one of the better teams in the league, which I think they are, you do look to play on NBA teams off of not just back-to-back, but really 3 straight losses like this, 3 straight up in ATS is something for decades I've used, unless something is fundamentally broken with the squad. And they do have some new pieces there. But you look at the injury report, for the most part, it's pretty clean. I do think they bounce back here, and I'm not going to write them off. Philly's obviously had a lot of issues. We kind of need to see them turn things around first with the players back. But a team like Minnesota or Boston, whenever they're coming off a bad loss like they were this week, they're always on my short list for play-on situations.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to trust a team like that, Andy, that just is head scratching. And I don't know what the hell to do with New Orleans and Denver either. It's another one that folks were looking at here. Is it just a prop game? Is it just Jokic? Just get it going, because who in the hell is going to stop him on the New Orleans Pelicans from getting whatever the hell he wants, when he wants, and how he wants here? And I think that's the problem. Although he looks like he's out tonight. So does
I was going to say, Joe, personal
Aaron Gordon
reasons might stop him.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, the only thing that can stop Jokic is himself.
What is
because
personal
the overnight
reasons?
report at least said personal reasons, or this morning when
There's
I
a
last
big horse
checked, I
race.
kind of scratched that game.
Oh, you're right. There is a horse.
There's
Yes.
a big horse race in Serbia.
Yes.
And listen, we were talking about teams that don't care about the in-season tournament. Sitting
Yes.
Jokic and Aaron Gordon against this Pelicans G League team. I watched the Pelicans play the Brooklyn Nets because I had a bet on it, not because I wanted to. That's 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. I'll tell you what, the Pelicans without Brandon Ingram are truly atrocious. They are absolutely awful. If Brandon Ingram isn't scoring a ton of points, they have absolutely nothing. But then they get this gift against the Nuggets. I did look it up. The Nuggets, they're not that bad without Jokic. They have a winning record the last couple seasons. But without Aaron Gordon, they lose a lot of size inside. If you can get a line on Missy, the center for the New Orleans Pelicans, he should feast for rebounds. See if he can grab his rebounds over. He's a big body. He can grab. He's not that talented, but he's a big body. He's going to be the biggest guy out there. Maybe he's athletic enough. So that's how I would play this game.
I like that look. Yeah, I mean, this is talk about not caring. Denver, going to be real good here tonight. So We've got same game parlays. We've got some totals, tons of props, guys. And of course, the opportunity to partner with both Steve and Andy available just a couple of clicks away. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I did see this. DeBoy Fishing over on YouTube Shorts wanted to know if there's any reason why the Cleveland Cavaliers will not be 14-0 by the end of the night here. I can't come up with a reason against the Bulls. Merrill, there's no reason or good reason why they should not be able to win this game. I think they're laying, 9-10 points still in this one?
Yeah, we always talk about motivation, the daily ebb and flow with the NBA, and there's a couple things with Cleveland tonight you'd be very cautious to fade. First of all, they're undefeated, right? And I think they do want to keep winning until they finally get a loss. Where you maybe see, a little bit of a fade spot is when they first get that loss. I don't think they just bounce back after that. Could be when they kind of exhale for a while. And Andy talked about his Pacers last year kind of taking the tournament seriously. I don't know. I haven't seen this, but my gut would be a team like Cleveland might be taking it serious as well. They're a lot like the Pacers were last year, trying to get over that hump to the next level and be a contender with the talent to do so. So, yeah, I mean, this is one of those speeding bullets that you don't want to try to catch midair. They're the opposite of a falling knife right now. They're red hot.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, I wouldn't get in front of the Cleveland train, would you? Is there, or should we just look for props in this one here? Because it looks like Cleveland, Mobley's a double-double machine now, and Mitchell just seems to get whatever the hell he wants and goes over his PRA every night.
I'm calling for the upset tonight. There's something about there's something weird about the Chicago team. This team was, for the most part, kind of written off. It's like, oh, they're going to rebuild, and Zach LaVine's going to be traded, and this is going to be a newer journey. They gave can anyone explain this contract they gave to Patrick Williams? You got Vucevic, who's not playing good. But now you look at these guys. Vucevic, his point total is 17.5. He's only gone under that one time this year. And Evan Mobley just got downgraded from probable to questionable with an illness. They're just the game the other night where the Chicago, the Bulls and the Knicks, that was a strange game. This is a Bulls team I would be terrified to play if I'm on a big winning streak. These guys are playing like they have nothing to lose. I would not be surprised if Mobley sits and Cleveland's not feeling it, and we won 14 in a row. We're not going to go the whole season undefeated. I think this is a primetime spot for Cleveland to get beat.
Not going to argue with that. Makes a lot of sense. I had the Bulls against the Knicks the other night. Everyone thought the Knicks were going to run them over, and that didn't work out. Took them and ended up winning that game outright there. So, all right, there you go. I think we've got most of these games down pat. Of course, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, guys, and make plans to join us tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time, for another edition of Last Call here on WagerTalk TV, as all the late line movements and steam and everything you need to know about the slate and college football. We'll also be talking some college basketball tomorrow. But once again, don't forget, these guys are locked and loaded already over at WagerTalk.com. Make sure you visit. Andy Lang, make sure you visit. R1L, Steve Merrill. And make sure you come back. Join us again on Monday as we welcome back a new week here of NBA action, college basketball action, and, of course, week 13 in college football, week 12 in the NFL. Can't believe that time of year already. Guys, best of luck with the plays here tonight. Don't forget, we'll see you again tomorrow for Last Call here on Wager Talk TV. Have a great night. Good luck.